welcome back to the Jack and Glenn channel. I'm Jackie.
I'm her husband, Glenn.
He is my husband, Glenn.
Make sure, before we get this started, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell notification. Also, check out our Audible link in the description if you enjoy listening to books while you travel, while you work out at a gym, or while you just enjoy podcasts or listening to books. So check it out.
Please do. Okay.
Let's get started.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Season 11, episode 11 review of Married at First Sight.
All right, we're going to start with Amelia and Bennett. This is not, we're not doing it in the order of how they showed it on the show. So, just so you know, if you might need to watch the show.
You might.
This is a review. Okay, I haven't said that in a while. But Amelia and Bennett. Okay, so we see Amelia and Bennett, and she talks to her Aunt Thalia.
Yeah, and they're excited to talk to Thalia.
Yes, because she says this, she didn't say it's her favorite aunt, but this aunt she's really close with, and she talks to her about a lot of stuff. But
it seemed like they're close in age, that she was like, she's the cool aunt.
Yes.
She's the cool aunt that you can tell everything to hang out with, or the aunt that you know that's just real cool.
Yeah, so her first thing is, let me see this hunk of husband that I heard about that you married. Let me see him. And so Amelia turns the camera to see Bennett, and her aunt says, he looks like just what I would picture for you.
Yeah. I didn't know how to take that.
I think it's a good way, like, you know, okay, it matches. Like, when she saw him, it wasn't like, well, that's not your type, or
right.
He doesn't look like he would flow. And I guess you kind of got the not kooky vibes,
quirky.
The quirky vibes just from looking at him, like, oh yeah, he got crazy hair like Amelia. Mm-hmm. He got that funky mustache, facial hair thing going on right now. Yeah, that looks like Amelia.
Yeah, you didn't know any better. You think they're brother and sister.
I think, well, I don't know. Sometimes that might make the best couples. You know, we'll be like, oh, y'all look like y'all could be related. But we are related by marriage. And children. But they talked about, you know, they had a little small talk, but then they talked about the fact that Amelia's going to be matched soon for her residency. And, you know, what's going to happen then. And Bennett's basically like, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Kind of as if they're not there. They're very close. They're very close,
and he doesn't want to talk about it. I mean, to me, it takes Bennett he doesn't want to bring it up, doesn't want to cause any friction in their relationship or with what's going on. He knows it's coming, but they don't want to talk about it. And I don't know, we want to spoil where she's at.
No.
Okay, we won't. We do know what city she went
to. But they said they want to cross that bridge when they get to it, which makes sense, because I mean, it's a very big decision for Bennett. More than Amelia. I mean, obviously, it's a big decision when you decide where you're going to do your residency. But it's more for Bennett, which he says later when he's talking to, when he has dinner with Henry, that, you know, I'm established here. I have, you know, my jobs here. I have my friends here. I have a home here. My whole life is here.
Yeah.
And so it's like, do I choose to stay with my life, which technically is my previous life, or this life that I'm trying to establish with this woman that I really like, I really care about? I would, in the words of Amani, I would say, he said he's strong like with his wife. Very strong like.
I think at this point, I mean, I think about those who are serving our country, those in the military, coming from military family background. There's sometimes you have to pick up and move for your loved ones. You have to pick up and move for the job that your loved one has. This benefits her in her residency, wherever it is, benefits their family. And so him staying in New Orleans and doing the odds and end jobs, or just the theater company he has, and I'm not saying he's not supplying or making money for them, it doesn't benefit them in the long run. In the long run, the better move is to go where the doctor's going, and then he can still create his theater company wherever he's at. He still can connect to his friends. They can still come visit. It may not be New Orleans, but take the risk because you've been looking for love. You came on this show for love. You came on this show because you wanted to be married. And for him to, if the decision ever comes down for him to leave her because he wants to stay in New Orleans, that is not what you came on here for.
Right.
That's not what you did for. So I think, you know, in the long run, I think he does go with her, wherever her residency is. So.
And for them, like, I don't want to say it was the luck of the draw. I mean, not only you came on this thing for love, but the person that walked down the aisle, like, you had met them before.
Yeah, you had met them before.
And you all actually thought each other was attractive. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's like the fate, destiny, stars align. You know, it was like
karma, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. They came together. Like, what are the chances out all these people? And let's get to the fact that, for real, Amelia's not from there.
Yeah, she's not from there.
She's not from there, so there you go, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they got to make a decision. But one other unique thing, Bennett said he went somewhere. I can't remember where he said he went, though. But the lady that waited on him knew Amelia, was like, I'll give you whatever you want for free because Amelia put my finger back on.
Put her finger back on. The lady had cut her finger and Amelia sutured it up and made it look like nothing happened.
He was like, I can't even tell which finger it is.
Yeah, so Amelia has good sewing skills.
She better.
Has some great sewing skills. You know, but also stay with Amelia Bennett. Everyone got had some assignments, sexual type assignments. Amelia and Bennett did not get visited by Dr. V.
That we saw,
like other couples did, that we saw. But they did have an experiment where they had to get real close to each other and continue to give each other affirmations.
Well, yeah, they had questions to...
questions, yeah.
What are you most excited to share? What makes you most excited to share life with me? Mm-hmm. And Bennett said that you bring me joy. I like that you bring me joy. And when do we feel most close enough to share? And both of them were basically like when we're open and honest, mm-hmm. and when we have to talk about the tough things. And like my husband said, they had to do all of this.
Embraced
and like nose to nose.
Nose to nose.
Nose to nose. It was cute. I mean,
it was cute, but I can see because you're feeling your mate, and mm-hmm. therefore you're looking into their eyes. And I think if you're a truthful person or you're a person who has integrity and character, when you're holding your person that you say you love or in this case strongly like, you can't lie to them.
Right.
And, I mean, to me, I think you shouldn't be able to lie to them, holding them, embracing them, looking eye to eye, and answering these questions because there's some type of connection and feeling between you two that's there. And so, you know, that's to me for them, it was a good exercise because it's bringing them closer, especially for the decision they have to make later on. Which the decision, you know, Bennett, we talked about it earlier, the decision of whether to leave New Orleans or to go with your wife when she leaves.
Right, which was one of their last few questions. They talked about what's the favorite part about being together. Mm-hmm. They talked about the empathy and compassion they have and the funny things they do. What's the favorite part of my body? He said he likes her hips.
Yeah, and she said she likes his face.
Yes, which she's staring at right then. But the thing was, it's like, what do you plan to do to enhance their sexual connection and express their needs and desires? She said they want to express their needs and desires openly. And he says checking on her and speaking openly and communicating. So like he said, they're going to have to do that when it comes to this decision about this residency. And I'm glad they're establishing this now. Let's talk open and honestly about what we're going to do and how we feel about each other. Mm-hmm. And then a sneak peek, like, Bennett's feeling like he wants to say that I got more than strong like.
Bennett done had more than strong like, and I think
but he wants to get to the point where he can say it. So
I know, but it's
sneak peek.
Austin and Jessica all over again.
Yeah.
Because he's been loved Amelia, and he wants to say it. Go ahead and just say it.
Well, her too.
She loved Bennett. But again, I just still think this residency thing is the biggest weight on them, mm-hmm. because to uproot and to leave is big. I mean, I uprooted and left where I was at to come with you, but I came back to a place. I came back to a place where I lived at before.
Yeah,
so.
You lived here before, so it wasn't that big a deal.
Yeah, so.
And I mean, you act like I'm not from where we live now.
But you're not.
I'm from the state, but.
Yeah, but.
Anyway.
You was already established.
A little bit, so. Now let's go to Karen and Miles. All right.
Especially coming off of Karen and Miles from the last episode.
Yes.
Because Karen got in tune with her intimacy Because she said, if we look at the last episode, she said she wanted to, and they made grounds in the last episode. So she came up in one of the last things she said in her individual interviews that she wants to be intimate with her husband, which means Miles. She wants to get to the point where they are intimate with one another. And so here we go with this episode, and we see Miles and Karen. We see Miles walking into the room talking to Karen. That a question which I thought was interesting. The question he saw on Instagram, to me, is always funny because she saw him on Instagram and didn't like it, and now he's spending time on Instagram finding questions. And so now he brings the questions to her that he saw on Instagram.
Right. Do you feel like you can trust me? Do you feel like you can trust me?
Which is a valid question. I mean, I think when you want to become intimate with somebody, they have to trust you. They're basically trusting you with their body. They're trusting you with their emotions. They're trusting you with meeting their needs, whether it's sexually, intimacy, with just compassion and feeling. So that's a good question to ask. Like, also do you trust me to have your best interest being married?
Yeah, and so she says, to an extent, she said, I trust you to the point where, like, it doesn't feel weird being with you. I don't think that you'll be mean to me. It doesn't feel weird to live with you. But, like, I'm not fully invested with, like, I don't feel like I trust you to the point where I can fully give you my heart yet. And he says the same thing. Like, he can't really give his whole heart. And her thing says, but his thing is that, but I trust you enough now to know that you will never hurt me intentionally.
Which is growth from the last episode, because she said she felt unsafe because of the question. Now she says she feels comfortable. So she went from unsafe to feeling comfortable with Miles. And I really do think she misspoke. So when she used the word unsafe, I think she felt she really meant to say, I felt my boundaries was crossed, or I felt uncomfortable. Yeah. I don't think she really meant the words unsafe, like he's gonna harm me or really attack me or do anything like that. I think she did misspeak, but just to use the word unsafe in a relationship is kind of bad. For her to come back to say, now I trust you, I don't mind being with you, I don't think you're not gonna hurt me or harm me. I see that. That's where it shows the growth. Or either she got growth or she's bipolar, one of the two.
No. But anyway, but she says her thing is, and I feel like Karen is like so pessimistic when it comes to this.
Yeah.
She goes back to this frequently. It's like, I want to know who you are and how you are in the tough moments, and basically show us the real you. She like, I want to make sure that this is the real you. Because I think she's gotten, guys that put on so much in them little two serious relationships she had.
Not even necessarily that, but she's watched this show, obviously. And he's watched this show, Hold for Reply. And she said it, I don't want to make sure it's not for TV. This is who, and I mean, Miles has to be a very good actor if this is for TV and he's totally different.
Yeah, no.
I mean, if he must be on a totally different level if this is, as far as acting wise, if this is what he can do, because that, to me, he's showing you who he is. He's an emotional guy. He's an emotional guy who wants to be married. He's a smart guy. He's a compassionate guy. He's a guy that is willing to, do anything for his spouse, because we see he allows her to, I don't want to say manipulate or take control of situations just so the betterment that he don't have to have the argument.
Right.
We haven't seen him have the argument. He hasn't raised his voice and that. So we see who he is, his character. And his mama even said his character. Miles, when he loves or he likes people, he'll do anything for them. So that's people outside of him have told you who he was. Right,
but her concern is, I haven't seen the ugly side of you. And basically she says everybody's got an ugly side. Like, I haven't seen it. Like, that's where she has some trepidation. But she says,
but so in relationships you may not see that too much of an ugly side. I mean, we've been married in the first 19 years and you haven't seen that really go there side that I used to have, that I had when I was growing up. That go ahead side that gets you to rumble or whatever case may be. Not because it's not there, but because it's been I guess in the sense of maturity, growth. I'm with somebody who doesn't allow that to come out, or you know what I'm saying. There's sometimes when you're in relationships, if that's not my nature, that's not my nature.
Right.
You know, there's not. Of course, if it's a life or death situation, I can go there. You know what I'm saying? But that's not his nature. So why would you want to see the ugly side of somebody?
Right. Because again, she's I guess she's kind of like me. It's like you want to be prepared, like all the way around. I feel like she's a bit more pessimistic, but he says, or she says, whichever one of them. What's the maddest that you think I've gotten?
Yeah,
and so he said it was like when you made that lobster mac and cheese that was bomb, and you offered it to somebody else. And she said that's the thing I think the maddest that I ever seen you. And he was like, well, I wasn't mad. He was like, I was upset. Like, dang, you know, like, no, don't share my stuff. Like, you made that for me with tender loving care, and I like that lobster mac and cheese. Don't be giving my food to nobody else, girl.
But again, shows that he loves the fact that she can cook. Because he talked to earlier episode about her getting up in the middle of the night cooking. She can throw down. She can throw down in the kitchen. She likes cooking. You can obviously see that she likes to eat, not because of her size, but because if you watch the episodes when she's eating,
she be eating.
She be throwing down. You know what I'm saying? So he likes that, and yeah, of course, if that's the man. If the maddest he gets upset over is that you gave food to somebody else, and that's what it is, dog. We good. we good. And then.
I thought it was cute. I was like, yeah, I think I'd be upset if you gave away the lobster mac and cheese too. Like, you know, I like that. I love that you cook that. Like, why would you give that away? I want more of it. Don't do that. And Miles, you know, he said he was an athlete. He was a football player, so he obviously likes to eat too. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. All right. So next, so Dr. Viv shows up to talk to them, and they ask, "What's it like being married?" And again, they say, sometimes we have moments where we feel like we're married, sometimes not.
Which I didn't understand that. I don't, because, you know, we've been married for a while. I know I'm married. But I also know you're my friend. I also know that we can relate, we have conversations, we joke, we do. And so when somebody asks me what's married like, I'm like, being with somebody that you love and care for and want to spend time with every day is to me, being married is no different from us when we was friends hanging out at college. It's just the fact that we got 3 kids now.
Well, I mean, and then you got household to run, you got decisions to make.
But you still kicking it. And I know they newlyweds, and this show is accelerated. But I think that question is kind of, what does it feel like to be married?
No, it was like, do you feel like you're married?
Well, what does being married feel like?
What, just like you said, just really being connected to this person. So basically what they're saying is we don't feel that connection yet. Right. And she says that, you know, it takes some time to build that bond. We're trying to build that bond. And he said, I didn't expect to feel how I feel about this person in just 3 weeks. Yeah. So they're both kind of surprised about that. She said it's hard to connect at times because you got the cameras, you're trying to get to know this person, you're working through this, and all of that together it makes it more difficult for her. But go ahead and say it.
But she signed up for this. Again, I keep saying this. You signed up for this. It's not like she didn't go through a process. It's not like you haven't watched the show. It's not like you didn't know, okay, you know what, I'm going to have to go cameras. I'm going to have to deal with this. I'm going to have to interact with this person. And again, if y'all want private conversation, go to the bathroom. That's
what they said. That's the place to go. Go to the bathroom. Because they can't follow you in the bathroom.
Can't follow you in the bathroom.
Because that's like perversion.
Private moment. Or this is what even when you get to Dr. Viv when they talk about intimacy, guess what? They don't look at your text messages or your emails.
Right.
So you can connect and have conversation between text messages and emails all day long to enhance your relationship. FaceTime her, send her a little voice message, send her a little FaceTime message. Hey boo, how you doing today? I love you. Or, you know what, Karen, I just want to let you know I want some lobster mac and cheese for dinner, and what you cooked last night was the bomb. That type of stuff, building those connections and building those relationships in messages outside of the camera and outside of production.
Yeah, because her biggest thing is, Dr. Viv said, is that are there things that you don't want to talk about on camera. She says there's some things I don't want to talk about on camera. Dr. Viv's like, what things? She was like, like sex and Dr. Viv says, well,
hold what before you go, because she cringed and she got to the little schoolgirl. Like, oh God. Like I thought I was watching Iris all over again. Like you're 30, you're cheap. But this is why I'm hard on her, because she talks about his immaturity because he's 26, but you're 30 years old and don't want to talk about sex.
on camera.
On camera.
But like Dr. Viv
It's not
said.
like you tell him talking about how he's bending you over, not throwing your legs,
gosh.
throwing your legs up in the air like Amani did,
Lord.
like Amani talked about. All that stuff. It's like Dr. Viv said. There's a way that you can do it that can still be done
in a ladylike
and decent fashion.
And subtly, yes.
Again, back to my point, it could be a way you can talk about it through text messages or chats or whatever the case may be.
Right.
As long as you guys have that conversation.
Yeah, and we've seen it before. I mean, Jessica and Austin didn't do it. I feel like Bobby and Danielle didn't do it.
Jamie and Doug didn't do it.
You don't have to talk about sex in detail on the camera, but you should be talking about it. And it's a way that you have the conversation. Not even like Dr. Viv was talking about, like the connection between the two of them, as far as the touch, a look. Because Miles said basically, I'm trying to figure out, is she into me or not? Is she feeling me or not? It's been a trial and error thing. And Dr. Viv's thing with her is, you're going to have to give him some rope so he knows where you're coming from. And she put it like this, was like, Karen basically said, well, I don't want to get all into the mix, this, that, and then I'm not at the point where I want to go to sex.
Yeah, but
because she said, and Dr. Viv said, so you don't want to start the fire, and once the fire starts, you be like, oh no, we gotta put that out.
But you're kissing and hugging. You just gave my man a massage. You were inside of his thighs, and you was on his back. And I'm just being honest though. You're starting a fire, and now he has to say, you know what, I gotta hold myself back. And not saying men can't do that, because you can hold yourself back. But that's why Dr. Viv said y'all gotta make a decision whether it's on the table or off the table. If it's on the table, let's continue to cuddle and the kissing, the hugging, and doing all this so we can get to that point. If it's not, then we might have to limit, because I don't care what grown man you are or grown woman you are. Too much hugging and kissing leads to a lot of other things. Because guess what? I like to be kissed. You like to be kissed. You like to be hugged. You like to be, whatever the case may be. You like to be rubbed up, rubbed down. It doesn't matter. Whatever they do, if you're doing all those extra things, it leads to stuff in the bedroom.
And that's why Dr. Viv said, which, as you watch the episode, we put it in perspective because we just saw the preview.
Yeah.
She said, how about you take sex off the table? So basically, what you do is you talk about and say, we're not ready for the intercourse. But she said you could try everything up to that. Just know in between y'all that, okay, not that you won't get fired up, but we're going to do all of this, but we're not trying to have no intercourse.
So after decision day.
She said, just put that. But she did basically say, if it happens, it happens. But don't put the pressure on yourself that if I kiss all on him, he gonna want to do it, and I don't want to do it. If I rub all up on her, I'm gonna get myself excited, and she not gonna want to do it. Take that out your mind, and just enjoy. If you want to be cuddle. If you want to snuggle. If you want to kiss. If you want to go there. And just don't not do it because you're scared that it might light a fire.
And I don't think Miles is going to pressure it either. If you watch Unfiltered from a couple of weeks ago, he said he was in a relationship for 2 years where they didn't do anything. So, so I don't think he's pressured, but I think the pressure comes that it's his wife now, not somebody he's dating. Mm-hmm. And he wants to, with his wife. But they have an activity.
Yes.
And so the physical activity that they did, I'm going to go to that one. The physical activity they wanted to go work out together.
Right.
And Miles is a very competitive guy. She can and Karen can use this not in a manipulative way, but in a way to help Miles. He's competitive, and he's like, you ain't beating me. Right. You ain't beating me. So they went to work out together, which I thought was good for them to bring them connected together. Because the more things they can do, like in competitive nature, the more things they can do together, the closer they become. We saw that with the massage from last week, and we see this with the workout from this week. They will become closer together the more things they do and interact. And they joking and they banter was pretty good. He's like, girl, did I tell you we got some firearms at the house?
And she was like, what? He was like,
oh my bad. I don't want to hurt nobody. Sorry about y'all.
These guns is what he said. He said these guns. But yeah, they worked him hard. He was like, I'm not used to this. Like, I do weightlifting and I do some cardio, but all this stretching with this band and lunges, and he was like, I'm struggling. I'm tired.
Miles looked like he was a big offensive lineman. He was an offensive lineman guy, so they don't do too much.
Right, but it was cute because they did the whole thing, and then he says he had the guns at the house, but anyway, and so then they had to do their exercise with the fishbowl that Dr. Viv left with them, and so. The first question was, okay, so what's some pet names? What's some pet names? And he said for her, he called her Love.
Love.
He called her Shorty.
Call her Head.
He called her, but be the nice one for her. He said Love and Shorty. Mama. She was like, yeah, you do call me Mama. And he said Head. She was like, Head? You ain't never called me Head. He was like, I absolutely called you Head. And you were like, don't call me that. What you call me that for? But she did not remember. And so, as far as the pet names for him, she was like, I'm not a pet name type of person. And he says, well, you called me Child.
Child. That's not a pet name. That's an insult. But she's the childish one.
But she was like, what? Like, I ain't saying like that. He was like, yeah, you called me Child.
You called me Child.
But she probably come up. I talk like that. Come here, Child. It wasn't a pet name. It wasn't even a name per se. It's just like, honey child. Child, let me tell you, it was that kind of child. But anyway, so basically just proved her point. I don't do pet names, which I think that's kind of weird. You ought to have something that you say, like, I mean, when we say, he's my husband, Glenn, like literally from the day we got married, that was his name, husband. I mean, in a sweet way, he is my husband. But like, husband, that's his pet name. Yeah. You gotta have something.
Brown sugar.
You gotta have something. Anyway, don't be doing that. So, so what are triggers that make?
Come on, sugar.
They talked about triggers that make them feel insecure, and he said for him it's her stressing about his age, stressing his age. And he said basically, I've always been the younger guy that was. We have a saying, it's like, he got an old soul.
Old soul.
You're young, but you act like you're older than you are. He said, I've dated older women. I've always hung out with older people. I've run in those kind of circles. So I might be 26, but my maturity level is not there. So for you to keep talking about it, and he brought up a point that she said, oh, you remind me of myself 8 years ago. Like, that kind of offended him. And she explained that, no, what I was saying was, it wasn't an age thing. It was more of a mindset. Like, I remember 8 years ago, I thought like this. I acted like this. This happened with me. And so she said that's what she was saying. And she, she didn't want to be offensive at all. And then she said the thing that she's working hardest to change is his perception of her.
Yeah. She's
working hard to change that. And it's they're giving it time. And but not to think that she's against what they're doing. I
think she likes Miles. I think she, she really wants to be with him. I think she likes him. I think the camera gives her a little heebie-jeebies. She want to maintain an image while she's on TV. If you look at her, and I go back to this, nothing against her mom. I don't know her mother, but if you go back to her mom when they did the preview specials, the really early episodes, you can tell that she come from a dignified, high-class character family, which is not a bad thing at all. You know, that this means a lot to us, and we want to parent why, because her mom didn't want her to do the show, and the appearance means a lot. So she wants to keep that appearance on the camera, and she wants to keep that appearance on TV. And so I think that's where her hesitation comes at, because she doesn't want to let anyone down. Mm-hmm. And whether it's her father, who's a strong head of the family, whether it's her mother, she wants to be able to do things in the right way. So, and with that being said, I don't think, right now, I don't think she's going to leave Miles. Unless something hits the fan, that's not going to happen. They can be together.
Right. But the main thing is, like, she basically is saying to him, in maintaining this level of decorum or whatever, like, I don't want you to think that I'm not into this. I do like you.
I do like you.
And I am feeling
I do find you attractive. So, let's move on.
So, speaking of feeling very attractive, let's go to the other friend, Amani and Woody.
Oh yeah, we get the real.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's not gonna take long at all because they in strong light. They feeling each other all up in each other's face. Gonna give kisses anytime.
all up in their face. Woody be like, look, he just look at it like, yo, okay.
He's a mess. They're a mess. They're a mess. But we see them. I'm assuming Dr. Viv talked to them before this because he had questions in his pocket.
Yeah, questions in his pocket. Yeah, she didn't see Dr. Viv actually at their house or their apartment. We saw them in the park where they had questions in their pocket. Woody had questions after he got a kiss from Amani. She like, you look like you want to kiss me.
Well, because it's never not a good time for a kiss. It's always a good time for a kiss.
You believe in that?
So, don't do that.
You're just going to ignore me.
See, if I answer the question, then you're going to take it upon yourself to put on a show for the camera.
I'm not putting on a show. I do this all day long.
No, I'm talking about...
While we sitting in our office, I'll be like...
No, because you're going to be like, is any time a good time for a kiss? And you're going to try to kiss me on the camera. And I don't do that public PD.
So you're Olivia.
We'll get to that. But then ask a question. So, talking about what things turn him on.
Yeah.
And he's like honesty and being able to share his truth, and being able to be himself, and be accepting. And she says when he does the little things for her, because like she said, he fixed her a breakfast taco. Woody, sir, he is cooking for Amani now.
He's throwing down.
He taking care of his queen.
Grandma taught him how to cook.
He taking care of his queen. And so just like Miles and Karen, Amani and Woody like to eat too, and he gonna make sure she eats. I feel like he's fattening her up to get
pregnant.
He's fattening her up, but she said he made her a breakfast taco, and instead of like she did it, she had the condiments on the side or whatever. Like he put the sauces, like he fixed it completely for her.
He's paying attention to what she likes.
Said.
He's doing it just the way she likes it.
Yes, he said. So she's like, that meant a lot to me that you notice the little things, and it's the little things that I'm enjoying. And then the next question was like, okay, what's your favorite sexual position?
Sexual position.
Favorite sexual position, and they both shared. I was like,
what he said he likes to be
from this. He likes it from the side. She says that. This the part I was like, oh, okay. She said, I like, something that we haven't done before. I said, well, what have you done, honey?
She's done a lot.
Apparently
they've done a lot.
But they hadn't tried this. She said, let me put my leg on your shoulder.
Legs on your shoulder.
Yeah, I was like, okay. I said, okay.
But they're open about that, and that's the difference between, and I don't want to compare couples, but they're open and comfortable with that. Because this is from, remember, Amani goes back. My mind is great. Amani said she had not had many sexual experiences.
Right.
So now, and Woody said, well, can I be a teacher? So for her to be opening up to that, which means they're having a lot of conversation and they're doing a lot of other things, for her to be able to be comfortable with her spouse on TV to say, you know what, this is what I like, or this is what I'm willing to try. But there's nothing wrong with that conversation.
But they did bust out laughing quite a bit, when the question got picked, not this one and other questions, but like I was like, right,
because their mind probably went to the last time they like, what did he want to do?
No, I think it was funny. It's like, oh my gosh, like we gotta talk about this right now. Y'all are funny. You know what I'm saying? I think they laugh like it's a little bit embarrassing, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I'm gonna go ahead and say it.
They good troopers. They good soldiers.
Okay, they had a serious question like, what's something that you've given up on? Like you had to give up on it.
And I knew the answer to this before you answered. I think a lot of people knew this before, and it was his dad, because his dad went to prison.
The relationship with
his dad. Dad went to prison when he was 9. He gets out when he was 16. I mean, that's 7 years that you have lost, and those not just any 7 years. Those are 7 major years. In the puberty to the high school, to being a man, to be driving, and so you missed out on a lot. And I can't go back to the 9-year-old Woody, and I would like to, but I can't. And now you're not trying to even try to catch those 7 years up. It's just different.
There's no way you can catch up. He said that. He was like, at this point, he was like, the things that you should have taught me, I had to teach myself, and I don't need your help. Not in a bad way, but I don't need your help for that now because you weren't there. Well, and basically, he said, like the bridge was broken. And he didn't see any way that it could be reconstructed. Now maybe it could, but he said he worked through it. He went to counseling, and And what I like is that she brings to him, and we saw this earlier. It's like, okay, so you're missing your dad. The good thing is they have 2 replacement dads, because I have 2. She has 2 by way of her biological father and then her stepfather, but they both love her just the same.
And
they were already embracing of Woody, and you could see like that really touched. We said this before. That touched me. That how welcoming they were to him and how willing they were to be an influence in his life and be there for him. And she brought that back to him again, and he was like, "Yeah, I got 2 new dads, and I have something to make up for it. It's not when I was 9 years old, but I have a chance now to have a fatherly bond with somebody."
Yeah, and that was good for him, and it was a reassuring for him that I do have, and he was like embracing. Yeah, I do have 2 dads. I do have people.
Yeah, she said again, that and asking the question, relate. I just told my friend the other day. I texted my friend the other day. I'm as strong like with my husband.
I'm as strong like with my husband.
I'm as strong like with my husband.
They a good couple. I like them.
Yeah, real quick, they had a funny little conversation about wanting a dog. She said she wants a dog. And he was like, "No, you ain't gonna have no dog. If you get a dog, we're gonna have a baby at the same time, so they can grow up together. I'm not doing no dogs in the house. Dogs go outside. I'm not having no dog in the bed with me. I don't want no hair on my face." And she was like, "No, the dog wouldn't be in the bed, and teach them how to bark, not to bark."
He said, "But dogs bark.
That's how they communicate." And she was like, "But you could teach them not to bark for no reason." And basically, again, he's like, "But they're not barking for no reason. That's their communication."
She's like, "Don't make sense. How can we can't, our schedules, because how can our schedules not fit a dog, but fit a baby and a dog?" Yeah,
because he said we couldn't fit a dog in our schedule. And that's what she said. How could we not fit a dog when we can fit a baby? Come on, that don't make no sense.
You can send baby to daycare.
Right.
Daycare. And when we did that, I'm not being honest, we did it. When we started having kids, the dog went bye-bye. She didn't want it to go bye-bye, but we couldn't.
Yeah, she was wild.
She couldn't
My
do
dog
both.
was wild.
Yeah, we couldn't do both. So when we got married, the dog went bye-bye. And a good bye-bye, not a bye-bye like to sleep bye-bye. We gave it to somebody. We gave it to somebody in a good way. I don't want anybody out there who animal lovers to come after us. But
oh no, because I love dogs. I want another dog, but not out. If I get one, I can't have it while I got my kids because they don't take the dishes out the dishwasher.
Definitely ain't
regularly.
No, definitely ain't walking no dog.
Nah. No. But anyway, so they had some choice cards that they had later.
Yeah.
Which again here we got to see the giggly side of them. Okay, what you got to do is so there was touch cards and do stuff, and so his was okay. I get to get a massage, and she massaged him with the oil
on his neck, and he like, "Why you get the bobblehead?"
Because he was like, because it feels so good.
Feels so good.
And then she got the card where he had to dance for her.
Yeah.
And so he put the little reggae music on, and he having him a good time.
Woody worked in the club before. Y'all can say what you want to say.
I think he showed off a little bit. Woody
done worked in the club
before. Go ahead. And then they had to do, so they did physical touch, and then they had to do taste. And like it was syrup. I'm thinking
chocolate syrup.
It was chocolate syrup.
Yeah, because he said
when he said syrup, then I saw it. I was like, oh, he means chocolate syrup.
Yeah.
And so he's like, you put it anywhere on your partner's body and lick it off. And she said, where you gonna put it?
He thought about that thing, and he realized he was on camera. And so what he did was, if you go back and look at it, his mind was wondering, and he's like, you can see him thinking like, you know what, I bet not. I'm gonna just go put it on your neck.
But
you don't believe me? Go look at it.
But she said, I knew you were gonna do that. And so he puts it on her neck, kind of gets it on her shirt, and so he has to lick it off. And she was like, oh my God, it tickles. And he was like, I don't even like chocolate.
I only like chocolate.
But I'm going to lick that off because this is the task that we were given.
This is the task we was given.
And I love my wife.
I love my wife.
And so then from that, they talk about how would you initiate sex. And so he said like this, and hug him up and kiss him. And she was like, I do the same thing. That's how you're going to know. That's how you're going to know what's up.
That's how you know what's up.
Yep. So Amani and Woody, real easy. I like them. I don't see no major waves. I don't see no major waves. I'm expecting another Deanna and Greg here, another Danielle, Bobby, Jessica, Austin, just smooth sailing. So that's it with them. So then we're gonna go to Olivia and Brett because we on a we in a hurry.
Olivia and Brett, man, this couple right here, his sarcasm is killing their relationship because he can't be I don't want to say serious, forthright, and say what he wants. It's always sarcastic, and she can't let her walls down because she wanted a certain way. And I like Dr. Viv, how she was like, when she came in, she wasn't having it. She wasn't playing with the cats, and nor was she playing with them because she gave them. And I think when they see Pastor Cal next week too, that he's not gonna play it neither. But Dr. Viv was, you know, they came in and Dr. Viv talked about them in the intimacy.
Well, yeah. First was okay. What's the challenges that they're having? And it was like, you know, deciding about what we're gonna do as far as living arrangements and kids, because he owns his house. Olivia says if he didn't own his house, it wouldn't be that big of an issue, but because he owns his house, it's an issue. He was like, oh yeah, I'm so irresponsible. Oh, that's stupid equity in my house, which starts the sarcasm.
That's the sarcasm.
And so Dr. Viv, like you said, so it was like, you know, I don't think this is the time for sarcasm. And he was like, I mean, this is who I am. And Olivia's concern is that I work long hours, the way my schedule is, and I don't want to have to. He lives far away.
30-minute drive. Come on, dog. A 30-minute drive? 30 minutes is not long to commute to work. I'm sorry.
We were like, that's not a long drive at all. But
it's not.
No, but so that's her concern, is he lives far away and, you know, working out long hours and have to drive all the way there. Like, I'm not feeling it. And so she says, Dr. Viv tells him, like, these are decisions that don't have to be made right away.
No.
Why are you so focused on that now, you know?
Don't even know if y'all gonna stay together after 8 weeks. But you're focusing on of course the conversation has to be had, but don't have to be had in the first 3 weeks of your marriage.
And then she brings to them too, okay, so then why don't you think about it this way? Let's think, instead of focusing on, because he wants to be a homeowner, that's fine. Why don't y'all invest in something together? Think about it that way too. Well, we could always get someplace in the middle where you're still buying a house and that may be close to my work. And, you know, she was talking to them about compromise.
And then he could take the equity from his home, take the equity from his home that he has, sell that home, take the money that he'll get back because he has equity in his home, put that on a house that's kind of the same price range of the home that he just sold, and then be in the same place but yet be closer, which is smart economically, because again, newsflash, for a man who has a house and you married a woman, she may not come in and like the house that you have.
Right.
A woman wants to design and decorate her own, and then a man, it may not be the man's touch or the woman's touch within the home. So if you have something together, again, hence why they moved them into an individual apartment. Someone can never say my house, your house. This is our house.
Right.
And so we can have it together.
Yeah. Then they talked about, the kids thing. He said when he started this, he said he absolutely wanted to have kids. And her thing was that she would consider it. And that he sees her saying, I would consider it, as an absolute no. But she says it's not an absolute no, but also I might not get there. And Dr. Viv was basically like, well, that's not the impression that you gave either when you were coming into this.
Right.
So
the situation was right and the things that was going on and everything was good. Yes. And again, it was, Danielle said this. Danielle said she didn't want to have kids, whatever, and now she's on her second one. So it's like when you're in a relationship, being married, that process, it takes the time and you realize, you know what, I do want to have kids. So it really is never absolute.
Yeah, and so the basic, Dr. Viv said, went there with them, was like, okay, so if you it would take you being more comfortable and being in a place where y'all are comfortable with each other and y'all situation and feeling each other. And she made a point to say, well, even like how y'all sitting, you're over there, he's over here. You know, you have so much space in between you all. Why don't you move closer? Do y'all do any cuddling? Do you do any touching? And how do you feel about PDA? And Brett basically was like, she's not a big PDA person. You know, I do. So as a couple, we don't. Basically because she's not feeling it.
Well, you know, I like Brett because he's always using we. He wants to be married. He just wants Olivia to lighten up. At first I thought it was Brett. It's her. She's so tight and tense that she's not lightening up and then enjoying. Let him, like, even with the point when he put his hand like on her thigh, she was like, no. Put it over here. You know, he put his hand over here, she was like, no. So you got, if you like him, as she says she do, and he's not put forth the effort to cuddle, to get a little bit closer.
Well, she says she is, just not on camera. But some of those things, like, to me, it's that's not no big thing. You know, on camera. That's not a big thing.
But we're not asking on camera.
We're not asking you to slob them down.
You're laying in the bed with him on camera. What more intimate can it be with somebody laying behind you or laying in front of you or put their arm around you? You're doing it, and they find you in the bed several times. So there's no difference between this and me you snuggling up and hold. See, I got a touch there.
But she said that for her it's a company thing. If they were alone, they would snuggle. And he acknowledged it. He was like, yeah. She is more affectionate.
See, to me, that's a cop out because you're not filming all the time. You have all days, so you have moments. Again, take advantage of the moments you have together to build a relationship. So when you come on TV, it's act like as y'all been building a relationship together, not that you're two separate. Take the moments and advantages that you have, and roll with them.
Yeah. Dr. Viv asks, have they explored each other sexually? No. And she says, why? And she says, because she feels like it should be more feelings there and it should be more meaningful when they get there. He said he wants to be affectionate. Like, this ain't normal for him that it would take this long.
Why? Because he's been on 46 dates and been with women. I'm not telling people, and when I say intimacy to me doesn't always mean sex. Intimacy means being connecting, holding, touching, feeling. So, I mean, of course, if you don't have the sex in 8 weeks with a person, that's fine. But at least be open to them having intimacy or being open to the intimacy that y'all have with each other.
Yeah. So they think that when the time is right, try it, and like she's gonna be like, no. Like, she doesn't want to give him the impression either that he shouldn't try it. Like, if I'm not comfortable, then it won't go there. But
the
she's so she's so standoffish. It's like he's like.
Like, I think Dr. Viv said it with Miles, and he said it also with Brett. Nobody likes rejection.
Right.
I'm not saying that it's frustrating. It's bruising. If you constantly ask them, do you mind doing no? Can I get a kiss? No. Can I get a hug? No. Can I put my arm around you? No. Can I touch you? No. How many people want to keep saying no? Nobody likes the word no. I mean, not saying it in a bad way, like, oh, he can go pout in the corner, but so many no's will frustrate you. Like, why? What did I do wrong? If I'm doing everything right, I'm not cheating on you, I'm taking care of the house, I'm cleaning, I'm cooking, I'm doing all this, and you still refusing, and you still saying no. She
gonna have to give him some. She gonna not give him some, but she gonna have to give him some leeway. She gonna have to open the door a little bit, like. And I still say, I don't care what you say. The way she is with him on the camera, it look like it ain't that much going on outside the camera. I fail to believe that.
She's standoffish.
I fail to believe that. But he complimented her smile. He said, she's got this big smile. Oh, she was like, don't do that. And he was like, well, that's not the one though. I'm talking about the great big smile where it feels like, it's going to take me over. I love it. It's the sincerity of it. And later on, she says to him when they have a conversation, it's like, you said something about my smile. But I think it's funny that you would say that in front of Dr. Viv, but you didn't say anything to me when we were having our moment, just us together.
Because
why would you do that?
And he was like, the question didn't come up.
Right.
The question didn't come up. If the question would have came up and you would have asked me, what do I like about... If they would have did the experiment that Bennett and Amelia did, he would have said, I like your smile.
Right.
And so that's where... When you're in a relationship with people, you have to ask questions, especially when you know, what do you like about me? What do you feel about me? If I'm doing this right, anything we change in our relationship? You take evaluations on your job. Mm-hmm. You take evaluations in your home. Take evaluation of your marriage. Take evaluation of your relationship. There's always things that we can work on better in our relationship. I give examples. Like the other day when I fixed me a breakfast sandwich in the office, I didn't bring you one. That's something I can work on. See? But that's something I can work on. I can be more like Woody and fix yours like he did on Monty's.
Anyway.
But I'm just saying, I use that as a jest because there's a evaluation process in marriage that you can evaluate yourself. And if you're honest with yourself, you realize what you can work on.
Yeah, and then, they have a whole conversation when they go out to eat, how he's looking at her sarcastically, like the looks on your face. And he was like, what does the sarcastic look like? And come on. You know what this looks like.
Yeah.
And she said, basically, you look at me like I'm stupid.
Yeah.
Like I'm dumb. Like, you look at me like, you know what it looks like. And so that was a whole thing. She says, despite his levity and being sarcastic, it doesn't mean I don't take things seriously. It's like, in order for it not to be too serious, I add levity because that's just the way he operates. And I know somebody like that irritates me to no end. Like, I'm like, can we just have a straight conversation? It's always sarcasm, and I don't like it. So I feel you, Olivia. But he says that I am a serious person. I do take this seriously. It's not just for cameras. I didn't say it just because Dr. Viv was there. I like you. I'm feeling you. Like, what do you want me to do?
What do you want me to do?
I don't know. It's just...
They need help.
Yeah, they're arguing with each other. I don't want to argue with you. Now you're arguing with yourself. I understand. I'm not saying I don't understand.
He's straight laced, man. He's low key. He's trying to be mellow and he trying to keep it moving.
Because they're insecure.
Yeah.
You know, it just that the whole thing at the restaurant was ugly. And I'm assuming that happened before they went to make the drinks. But again, just like with the trivia thing, like they were making the drinks and he was like into it, but it was just they weren't. He was enjoying it. He was making little stuff like, oh man, I messed it up, and like she wasn't paying him no attention.
No.
She wasn't paying him no attention. I know we're not there yet, but Olivia and Brett are at the bottom of my. Yeah. They're tied with Christina and Henry. So let's go with Christina and Henry. They suck.
Oh man, Christina and Henry. It won't take much on Christina and Henry for them there. You know, they also met with Dr. V, and she wanted to talk to them about the intimacy as well. How come they haven't connected yet? How come they haven't had any type of a connection? And you know, Henry was talking about his trust, and really basically said, I hadn't been in that many relationships where I've gotten this far. Mm-hmm. And it makes you wonder how many relationships Henry actually has been in, where the woman and him were interacting or even lived together or entwined. You know, we go back to the very first. Henry hadn't experienced a lot in the world. Mm-hmm. You know, but he did open up a little bit with her. Fast forward, talking about him being overweight and different issues of that nature. So he's having those type of trepidations when it comes to communicating and things that he's going with. And she tried to push him too, like what's the real issue? What's really going on? Mm-hmm. And he's like, it's nothing. Because
she was like, you know, why are you 34 years old and you can't get over the fact that you had these self-esteem issues when you were bigger?
Yeah.
And now, which I thought was kind of insensitive of her, because for some people, like, I mean, that's something for them to overcome. Like, I had a really bad lack of confidence and self-esteem, and even as a grown-up, I still see myself as that. Basically, he said, I still see myself as that.
And regardless of what you see, regardless of what you see in the mirror, I'm thinner now. Inside and mind-wise, he still feels that he is that kid.
Because his weight was like attached to his personality.
Yep.
So I wasn't a confident person. I'm not confident, skinny or big, because that's the beating that I took in my personality. So yeah, they have to ask these questions blindfolded. Christina basically was like, with Dr. Viv, it's never taken me this long to be intimate with somebody. I'm following his lead, and he's moving at a slower pace, and I want to be more affectionate. You know, it's moving slow.
Yeah, and I still say Brett should have been with Christina.
Yeah, yeah.
And Henry with Olivia, but I digress.
She says to Dr. Viv, they're friends that are married. Dr. Viv warns them against falling into the friend zone in a marriage, because there are some marriages where they focus on their friendship so much, but they're miserable, and it's not a fulfilling marriage. Yeah. Because should you be friends with your spouse? Yes. But there should be more than that. There should be the intimacy, the attraction, and all of that. So don't get so caught up in knowing what's his favorite color, when's his birthday, friend type of stuff, and that you don't get to the intimate side, which she wants to get to, but it's having a hard time.
But I said again, she has to initiate, and when she initiates, he'll follow.
And that's what Dr. Viv said too. You waiting for him, and you might have to you're gonna have to.
There's nothing wrong with her touching Henry's hand, and I think he did touch her, and she's like, oh wow, and she like oh.
He put his hand on. He put his hand on her thigh.
Yeah, he put his hand on her thigh.
It looks so old manish to me. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Just a touch. I mean, to me, that means they're sitting in a bed or laying in a bed with the pillow fort. if y'all haven't touched each other like that in instance. You know, them beds are not so big. It's not like it's a king size bed that they give them in their apartments. Right. So to me, that's where they need to work on the intimacy with them. I think we talked about it. She gave them, you know, she kind of used his own words against him as a deal breaker, was confidence. And we all know Henry doesn't have the confidence that she would like in a relationship. But again, she has to take the lead and help move Henry on to another level and get Henry to the place where he does feel comfortable, where he does want to build a relationship with her. And I think they will have some intimacy. They are a better place now than they were 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, but with the questions that they asked blindfolded, when Henry and Bennett met, Henry shared that I thought it was wrong that I would say, you know, the thing that's holding me back, that I have most of the issues with, is that I had lacked confidence. And then she pops up and says, well, it's a deal breaker for me, somebody that has a lack of confidence. He was like, it felt like she was using that against me. And they talk about that later too. Like, I felt like you threw that back in my face.
But she's always said that, though. It's not like the first time she hadn't said it. She said that to us looking at us, the camera, the people, and she said that off camera. And the same thing with her. He said the deal breaker was the fact that she's impatient. So it's no different. Is the impatience and the confidence issue. It's been the same thing. If she can be less impatient and he become more confident, I think they might be able to salvage what they have in the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
They're at the bottom for me again.
All right, real quick, your top 5.
I got ties all up and down. So Amani and Woody, Amelia and Bennett, they're tied for first for me. Karen and Miles are in the middle, and then Olivia and Brett, and Christina and Henry, they tie for the bottom spot.
I give you this. I'm gonna move Miles and Amani above Amelia and Bennett.
Miles and Amani.
Amani and Woody is above Amelia and Bennett.
Okay.
All right. I got Miles, Woody. Amani and Woody. Sorry, Amani and Woody. I have Amelia and Bennett. Karen and Miles. And I'm gonna put Henry and Christina above Olivia and Brett because of the fact that they had made progress and growth in the last couple of weeks. And Brett and Olivia seem like they're going backwards.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough for them.
But
anyway,
if you enjoyed this review, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell notification. Thanks for each and every one for watching our channel. Make sure you also, again, if you like reading books or listening to books, hit the Audible link in the description. And also, thank you very much. Can't wait to talk more Married at First Sight with you next week. Check out some of the past shows in the gallery.
Thanks. Bye, y'all.
See you.